Hey, what's up, y'all? So I went on a sample run today, and I'm excited to show you guys what I came up with. So let's get into it.
So the first sample I got was a water sample from a stream, a kick sample from the gate, some hi-hats, a snare sample, another kick, some bells from the pole, a snare sample from the leaves, and some tunnel reverb from the tunnel under the city. Going back to the kick, I had two samples. I had one that I used for more of the beater, and the second that I used for more of the boom. On the beater, I lowered the pitch by 5 semitones and added a low pass filter, raising the cutoff to about 78%, 79%, and raising the drive to about 84%, 85%. So once I did that, the kick sounded like this. Already I was really getting a lot more of the tone and timbre that I was looking for in that sample. For the boom, I lowered the pitch by 15 semitones and I added a low pass filter, again, with a cutoff of 41% and the drive all the way up to 100%. And that made it sound like this. Now, when I did that to both of the samples, I was still really looking for an aspect of the sound that wasn't there yet. So to do that, I added a plugin called Kushmer Essential Kick. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce it, but I just went for it. But I think that this plugin is fire. It has all the different parameters that you would need to really adjust a kick so that it fits in your mix the right way. The two knobs that I used the most on these kicks, I grouped them together, were the mid and the transient shaper knob. The mid knob adjusted that frequency to give the kick a little bit more body, and the transient shaper knob focuses on that very initial hit to bring the attack up so that it really hits every single time that person or whatever you trigger that sample. So I love using this on different types of kicks when I just want them to hit a little bit harder. Together, the kicks actually ended up sounding like this. And already that's bringing up a lot more tone and power into that kick that I was looking for. For the snare samples, I had two that I wanted to use to basically emulate the top of the snare and the bottom of the snare. For the top snare, which I'm calling the leaf snare in this example, I lowered the pitch by 5 semitones and I added a low pass filter, which was unusual for me because I usually do a band pass or a high pass filter, but because of the way the leaves were kind of making a very crunchy type sound, I really wanted to cut out some of those highs. So I lowered the cutoff to 88.8% and I raised the drive just a little bit to 26.3%. So for the bottom snare, I lowered the pitch by -6 semitones and I added a filter, low pass filter, raising the cutoff to about 86.7%, and I raised the drive to 48.1%, just to really give it a little bit more grit and body that I was going to expect to come from the bottom of a snare. So with that, I added another plugin as well called Snare Buzz. So Snare Buzz is basically a plugin that simulates the vibration of a snare and gives it more of an acoustic feeling because it's playing off of the reverberation inside of a drum room. So with that, I added just a little bit of room reverb technically by increasing the mic distance. It's pretty low actually, so it's almost like right up on top of it. And I raised the mix to about 59.2%. So it's just a little past where it's kind of sharing the same space in terms of the sound that you guys would hear. And I didn't really increase the gain outside of that using it. But I like using this plugin just to give samples that sort of sometimes feel lifeless. It gives it a little bit more of presence and a room where everything can kind of sit in so that it feels like it was all played together. So for the hi-hats, I ended up not doing that much post-processing. I just added a high-pass filter. But I was able to use this other plugin called Tape Cassette, which basically simulates tape saturation and tape noise and gives the sound more of a vintage feel. With the hi-hats, I really wanted to get more of a wooden sound from it as opposed to metallic, similar to a rim shot, just to keep different types of rhythms going on. But I really think that this gave it more of a vintage feel and allowed the hi-hats to kind of have some character. So after I did that, I started to put all the samples together and created a simple beat loop that went like this. Then I started to add the different percussive elements that I have. Then I think I added keys. So I added that. And I added a synth just to add some more body. And that lo-fi set it going, yeah. Then I decided to add a marimba. So to keep the environment vibe that I had going on in the beat, I decided to add a water sample that I got when I was doing the sample run. So that ended up sounding like this. All in all, that was pretty much the entire beat, so I just want to say thank you for watching, and if you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to turn on your notifications so you can be the first to see new videos. If you want to see my music anywhere, search me up AJ Vibes on all streaming platforms, and look for the face that looks like mine. Thanks so much, y'all. Peace.
And